We're going to take a look at the best tax-friendly states to retire in. These would be states that do not have a Social Security tax or other taxes. So stay tuned for more. Thank you for watching. This is Richard with Wisdom Investor. If you're getting close to retirement or you're already in retirement, you may be thinking about relocating. Now, when it comes to relocating, there's several things you may want to consider. One could be the climate that you want to live in, healthcare costs, real estate costs in the area you want to live in, transportation costs, relocation costs. But there's also other costs to consider, and some of those costs would be related to taxes. So in this video, we're going to take a look at state taxes on Social Security. Some states have a tax, others do not. Also on pension benefits. We'll also look at state income tax rates, also state and local property taxes. And then at the end, we're going to look at what states are the best states to retire in based on taxes. The first area we're going to look at is state taxes on Social Security benefits. Some states have a tax, others do not. Here's a map of states that do not tax Social Security benefits. The states in the green do not tax Social Security benefits. The states in the gray either tax Social Security benefits the same as the federal level, or they have some exemptions to help lower some of the tax on Social Security benefits. So states that do tax the same as the federal are Minnesota, North Dakota, Vermont, West Virginia. States that may have a partial tax based on your income and age are Colorado, Connecticut, Kansas, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, New Mexico, Rhode Island, and Utah. The other 37 states do not have a tax on Social Security. Okay, so we're going to take it one step deeper. We're going to look at states that do not tax Social Security benefits and also do not tax retirement distributions. The states in the green do not have a state tax on Social Security benefits, and they also do not tax IRA and pension distributions. Now there's one state that's exception to this is Alabama. Pensions are not taxed. However, 401k plans and IRA distributions are taxed in Alabama. Let's look at states with the highest and lowest property tax. This map ranks them by color. The darker the color, the lower it is in property tax. The lighter the color, the higher the property taxes. So let's look on the low side. We have Hawaii, ranked number 1 as the lowest in property taxes. We have Alabama, number 2. Louisiana, number 3. We have South Carolina, 7. Colorado is tied for 3rd. And then some of the others here on the West Coast are also fairly low. On the high side, we have Illinois, ranked number 50. We also have New Jersey at 51, New Hampshire at 59, or Wisconsin at 47, Nebraska at 44. In general, you're going to see the Southeast with lower property taxes. And then it looks like the mountain states also have low property taxes. Florida, a lot of folks like to retire in Florida. They're 26, kind of mid-range. And then Arizona is 13. So Arizona's property taxes are a little bit on the lower side. Here's a map of sales tax, local and state. Interesting here, we have Tennessee has no state income tax, but it does have a high sales tax. Also, Washington State has no state income tax, but it has a high sales tax. Florida, for example, has low property tax and about an average sales tax. Arizona, a little bit lower property tax, but a higher sales tax. So states that do not have an income tax may have a higher property tax or sales tax to pick up the loss in revenue. Now, if you have stocks and bonds, you may be interested in this. This is states with capital gains tax. Now, the states here in green have no state income tax, and they have no capital gains tax also. If we look at these mountain states, typically right around 4.5, 4.9. If we look here on the eastern portion of the United States, it seems like the capital gains tax is just a little bit higher, but not terribly significant. Now here's a map showing the affordability, not necessarily taxes, but the cost of living affordability. We look at the West Coast here, typically more expensive to live. The blue area is most affordable. You're going to see again, a lot in the Southeast is more affordable. You get into the Northeast, less affordable to live. So to put this all together, Smart Asset website has put together what they consider very tax-friendly states, tax-friendly, tier 2 level, and moderately tax-friendly, and then not so tax-friendly. In their tier 1 level, they say is very tax-friendly. That's states that either have no state income tax, no tax on retirement income, or a significant tax deduction on retirement income. In addition, states in this category have friendly sales, property, estate, and inheritance tax rates. So this would be Alaska, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, Nevada, South Dakota, Wyoming. Smart Asset considers those most tax friendly. And on the opposite side, the not so tax friendly, California, Connecticut, Maine, Minnesota, Nebraska, Rhode Island, Vermont. Now let's take a look at Tennessee, for example. Tennessee does not have a state income tax. Tennessee is listed in the green here. They do not have a state income tax. They also do not tax IRA and pension distributions. Property tax is fairly low, but they do have a high sales tax. Depending on what you're doing, if you have a home that is medium value, your tax on property is not going to be too bad. But if you're spending a lot of money, you're say on a higher income level and you're spending more money buying things, your sales tax is going to be higher. Therefore, Tennessee's listed on tier 2 level. They could very well qualify for tier 1 based on a lot of their tax advantages. But if you're spending a lot of money and buying things, your sales tax is going to be higher. If we look at this map here by Smart Asset, the darker areas are most tax friendly and the lighter areas are least tax friendly. We're going to see here the southeast seems to be the most tax friendly. We've got Washington and Nevada out here on the west coast. The least tax friendly areas could be the northeast and the upper Midwest, for example. So for myself, I live in Washington State. Washington State is considered a tax friendly state. However, I'm thinking about leaving Washington State, so I am definitely going to be looking for another tax-friendly state. I would hate to lose that benefit of the taxes that I get in Washington State. However, some other things I will be looking at are climate. I may want to be in a more southerly climate. Also, the cost of real estate. What's the cost of real estate like in the state I'm going to be moving to? But again, this area in the southeast seems very favorable. So we looked at the best states, the most tax-friendly states to live in. If you have any comments, leave a comment. I want to thank you for watching and joining us here today.